Shalom Aleichem to everybody. Welcome to First Yahudin Messianic Temple here in Lake Placid, Florida. I am his servant, Maria Simpson, and today we are just re-recording the message that we brought on the Sabbath, this last Sabbath, which was called What is Divine Love? And the reason we are re-recording is because we had a lot of technical difficulty. So really my husband took it away. So now we are going to re-record the message, which really everyone that was here really it was very enlightening and everybody got touched. So anyway, today we are outside here. And it's a beautiful day, as you know, all of you can see. It's gorgeous outside, and I think I know that He is in our lives, and I believe this message is going to touch everybody. So with that too, the message is titled today, "What is love got to? What is love? What is divine love? What is divine love?" There's we can all say different things about love, and really we all say it in different ways. But the love that I'm going to speak today is a love that really the scripture speaks about. It's a very powerful love, and I believe that most of us, or a lot of you, don't know what that is, because I didn't know it either. When you begin to walk in His ways, you see that He begins to manifest Himself. So there was a scientist that I believe all of us and all of you know who he was, or maybe you have heard of him. His name was Albert Einstein, and he wrote this. This is Albert Einstein. There's an extremely powerful force for which science has not yet found a formal explanation. It is a force that includes and governs all of the others, and that is even behind any phenomenon that operates in the universe and has not yet been identified by us referring scientists. This universal force is called love. Love. Just 4 letters, very simple, means so many things for so many different people, but let's see really what is divine love. Love is an energy. Love is the world in which divine spirits are. They live, including you and I, because we are also spirit and we are physical. Okay? The greatest world known to sages or teachers of the past, of all great times, the world in which the Messiah speaks is the world of love. And when we say that Elohim is love, because the scripture says that He is love, we understand that love is the essence from which everything proceeds from. Everything we see, the planets and the water and the earth and mankind and everything, spirits and everything came from love, because Elohim is love. All worlds, and that just explained, including through all eternity, we have forth and shall come forth from the source of love. Everything in the world lives in love and by love. Everything that we see, everything, the planets, and I just stated the planets and the sun and everything that we see, as you can see behind me, there's a lot of trees. It's all manifestation of love. Okay? Now, because what we're seeing is His body, is His attributes, is Elohim's attributes. Okay? Now, outside of love, when we are outside of love, we do not know Elohim, because Because love is connected with everything that lives. Every living being is connected to him. There's not a living being, there is no living matter that is not influenced in one way or another by love, that is not closely connected with love. Elohim is love. It's not only that he is outside of us in the universe, but he's also within us. He's infinite. Really, when we speak about love, what happens when love comes into our life? We become enlightened. In other words, there's a light, there's a feeling of overwhelming feeling of happiness when love comes to us. You can be in gloom, and all of a sudden love comes, and what happens is the light of love comes in. And the only thing that you can do is really be transformed, because what happens when you're in love, when you are around love, you're happy, you're joyous, you're in shalom, you want to sing, you want to dance, you feel great. The biggest mystery in all times is really the secret or the mystery of love. Has there ever been anybody who really would love to solve the secret of love? Could someone create a formula for love? Easy said than done. What does the Torah say about love? And reality is, it says in the book of John, when Yeshua was speaking to Nicodemus, for Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Now, in 1 John chapter 4 verse 8, it is written, he that loves not knows not Elohim, for Elohim is love. Now, there's a huge difference between the love that I am speaking right now in English, which is love, to the difference in Hebrew, ahabab. Ahabab. They both mean love, but it means two different things. The divine love that he expresses himself in the word, in the Bible, is ahabab. So what is the difference between one and the other? Love is really, because we all have different meanings of what love is, but love really is not thinking of self, according to the Bible. Love, or ahabam, is really thinking about the other person or other people. It's about giving. If you are a giver, and I really mean a giver, I mean your time, a hug, you think of others, a little note, maybe you want to help somebody or the ministry with money, it doesn't matter. That's called love. This is where in the Bible it says, love your neighbor as yourself. If you take the word ahabam, or the word love, and let's transform it exactly and give it the word give. In the Bible, like when it says here, in 1 John chapter 4, verse number 8, it says, he that loves not knows not Elohim, for Elohim is love. But if I take that love and I say, for he that gives not knows not Elohim, for Elohim is love. Elohim is a giver. He is the law giver. Now, I asked this question on Saturday, and I'm going to ask it again. How do you feel more overwhelmed? When you give or when you receive? Automatically, literally, when you give, you feel more overwhelmed, you feel great. Why? Because the expression on that person that you are giving, you are loving, it's an expression that you feel that is coming from their soul, and it makes you feel so good. You know why? Because you made somebody happy. But see, giving and receiving is not just for you to give. For that person that receives, they has to follow also there. Because see, if that person were to give you something, their time, a phone call, I love you, a hug, maybe monetary, whatever. The expression on your face, how you going to show them how you feel, it's going to feel so great. So really, love is about giving. And in giving and love, it's also the law of sowing and reaping. What you sow, you reap. And that's the way it is. The biggest thing, the biggest thing that really exists is Elohim, is Yahweh. Because He is love. And you will never, ever, 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 we will never hear Him complaining unless we're in disobedience. And the only thing He knows how to do is to give. That's why that's why He loves. He is love. He is love. He gives us the sun. The sun is constantly, it comes out in the morning and goes out and sets at, in the evening. Gives us rain. Gives us plants, gives us oxygen, gives us life. Constantly in our DNA, inside of our body, we have cells that are producing right now millions and millions, new cells. So this is why He loves, because He gives. And the greatest commandment, if you look at the Bible, from Genesis all the way to Revelation, is a book of love. The Bible is a book of love. Why? Because it opens, it really represents His heart. Notice, what really is He requiring from us? What is He requiring from us? It's our hearts. What can we give Him that He needs? Love. He is yearning for our love. He is yearning for us to serve Him. He is yearning for us to give to Him. What is love? What is love? And many of us have different definitions of what love is. Love is a force. It's a strong affection. It's a feeling. But it's a feeling that you cannot turn on and turn off anytime you want to, just like a switch, like an electrical switch. It cannot happen. That's not love. Now, what is this force called love? Everything originates from this force called love, and that's Elohim. And what is this force? It's called Haim. Life in Hebrew is Haim or Hai. It's life. Love is life. Without it, we perish. Without it, we die. This is why when a person dies, what is taken away from him? Their spirit, or his or her spirit. That person can no longer love. Now, when you love, and when you are connected to love, Elohim, when you as a husband, as a wife, as a mother has children, as a father has your children, your friends, when you love, it's a force that whatever you touch will flourish. And it's a feeling that cannot be compared to nothing else. There's nothing beyond love. Nothing. And the only thing that is stronger than love is gratitude. Because when you have gratitude, you have abundance of love. When you touch a person, when you hug somebody, when you shake their hands, when you speak to them, when you love somebody and you're serving that person, everything that you touch will flourish. Because there's nothing greater than love. And to really have that kind of love, it's a love that you have to have a grateful heart. Without a grateful heart, you will not have it. When we don't have love in our lives, or when we move away from Elohim, who is love, we become empty and we become despair. What we need to understand is, biblically speaking, in the book of Revelation, Yeshua said in one of the churches, I have something against you. You left your first love. And what is he saying? He says, I'm knocking at your door. Open your door, your heart. Open your heart and let me in so I can supper with you. To have love, which is a very powerful feeling, this divine love that is beyond a comprehension in the physical world. There's got to be two things in your life. Communication and gratitude. Many relationships, men and women, friends, siblings, family, whatever, it's lack of communication, lack of listening skills, not being grateful. And what happens with this, there will come that there was going to be you're going to disconnect. Okay. Elohim is love. He is light. He is powerful. He's constantly giving. He's a force that is nothing beyond him. But what happens when we are disconnected from this light, from love? We go from love to fear. We go from light to darkness. We go from shalom to a lot of chaos. This is what Yeshua said. You left your first love. Really, what he was speaking about was the first commandment: love Yahweh with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. Now, how can you do this? How can you give him? Because he's got everything. Well, we know that he's got everything. But what's happening in our lives right now is that he's testing us to see how much we will serve him. We will obey him. And obeying him and loving him, which is love. Love is giving and serving. It's really not that somebody else takes control of your mind, of your situations. Take control of really the gifts that he has given you. Because to every human being, to everybody, he has said, I place before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life. So see, no, I need money. Maybe some of you say, I need money. No, I want to go to school. I want a better relationship. I want a house. I want a car. I want wisdom. I want the Torah. I want the wisdom of the Torah. See, if you go to the root of this, of what you want in your life, including your abilities, your goals, it all leads to one thing: love. Love. The closer you get to love, the more you will understand that love will go into you. And what happens is, because love is an energy, there's nothing greater than love. Even though death is very powerful, but not more powerful than death. Because that divine love, that power that's inside of you, the world didn't give it to you. The world cannot take it away. If someone were to say to you right now, I love you. I love you so much, I cannot live without you. But this person, you don't see really that what he's saying or she's saying, you don't see the results. But if this person, let's suppose that they do say, I love you. But they begin to show you in actions. And they want to serve you, and they want to make you feel special, and you know, no matter what you're doing, and you know what, let me do this for you, let me cover you when you're asleep, let me make this café con leche for you. That's love. You know why? Because according to the word ahabab, which is love in Hebrew, ahabab, it's a verb. It means to give. It's a noun. It means that you need to act on it. Whenever you have time, go to 1 John chapter number 4, chapter 4. And really, this is when John is speaking that Elohim is love. Because the love that this message really is about is really divine love. And what is divine love? Divine love is something that goes beyond what you see. Divine love really is beyond giving. Divine love is a heart of gratitude. Divine love is about serving, not expecting to get back. But even though you're not expecting, you will get back, because it's a law. It's a law of sowing and reaping. What you sow, you will get back. Now, before I read 1 John, many marriages and many relationships, they say today, since I coach, and they tell me, my husband doesn't love me because he doesn't tell me. He doesn't show me. He doesn't respect me. He doesn't do this. And then the man also says, I don't know what's happening in my relationship, but it's not as warm, as excited as before. I believe I fell out of love. We need to be very careful the words that we are speaking. When you use the word fell, that means that you fell into something that really, that you now, that's it, you fell down, you fell down, you hurt yourself. In other words, it's something that is very hard for you. How can you love somebody when you first start, and all of a sudden you become a little switch, like the electrical switch, and you begin to turn it off, and it says, I lost that loving feeling. When you want love in your life, because there's somebody in your relationship that they're not giving it to you. One of the problems with relationship is, number one, is communication. See, you could have great sex, but that's not enough. Because I said it not too long ago that really marriage is like chicken soup. You need the right, you need a little bit of all the ingredients to make it work. Not just sex, not just say I love you, not just to have kids, not to, no. It's a little bit of everything. And communication is very, 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 very important in a relationship. And if you want this person, you want this man to love you, well, number one, there's got to be communication between both of you. And number two, stop saying that he doesn't love you. Stop saying what he's not. Stop saying what you don't want. Because you keep on saying what he is doing negative to your life and to others. And really what's happening is you're in the same predicament. That's why it doesn't leave. You know why? Because you have to start speaking different. You have to see yourself like you're already receiving that love. You're already communicating. Because constantly, what you don't want, you constantly are speaking. And that's why it doesn't leave you. So you have to turn it around. You have to do like a shift. You have to change the way you think, the way you speak, the way you do. And honestly, communication is very, very, very important in a relationship. And I believe this is one of the most problematic things that are happening today in relationships. But anyway, 1 John chapter 4, verse number 7. Remember, anywhere when I'm going to read love, it says give. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of Elohim, and everyone that loves is born of Elohim, and knoweth not Elohim. Let me say that with the word giving. Beloved, let us give one to another, for giving is of Elohim, and everyone that loves is born of Elohim, and loves Elohim, and knows Elohim. He that loves not, he that gives not, knoweth not Elohim, for Elohim is love. Elohim is a giver. That's why he's a lawgiver. He gives us. He's constantly giving us. You cut your grass in your house, and what happens? It comes out again. He's constantly giving us. Give us rain. Give us oxygen. He gives us life. He constantly gives us and gives us and gives us and gives us because he is love. And this is what he wants for us to learn what is divine love. Because see, the physical world and the spiritual world is parallel. The spiritual world governs the natural world. And you become who you hang around with. And love really is not about receiving, it's about giving. Not only do you give, but the other person gives you. Because there's more joy, biblically speaking, it says there's more joy to give. There's more joy to love. Listen very carefully, than to be loved. But we need to understand it in a very symbolic, very powerful, very profound wisdom. Because as you give, the other person should give you. And what happens there, the two hearts connect, and there's power, there's immense power. And when two come in agreement, whatever you ask, it will be given unto them. See, this is one of the things that the enemy, Hasatan, is no longer in. Love was taken away from him. The light was taken away from him. And you heard that expression that it says, misery loves company. And who wants to be next to somebody who is literally, who's always a complainer, never wants to do nothing about their life, is constantly negative, and constantly wants to go around like he or she is some kind of victim? Nobody. Nobody. Love is so powerful that its primary obligation is an obligation to love. Now, where does this come from? What do you mean an obligation? What does this mean? In Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18, it says, you shall not avenge or take revenge or hold no grudges. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Elohim. You shall love your neighbor. You should give. This is the second greatest command. You should love. You should give to your neighbor as you love yourself, as you give to yourself. Now, how can love be an obligation? Either you love somebody or you don't. Don't you agree? Whoever heard of anybody ordering an emotion that you have to, it's an obligation. You don't force love on anybody, correct? Well, the Bible is full of wisdom. And we cannot interpret the word according to the way we think it is. We have to interpret it what he's trying to tell us. Remember, he's divine. We are not. Because we live in two worlds. We live in the physical and we live in the spiritual. So really, what is an obligation in loving loving somebody? Do you remember when Elohim went to Samuel, because now they were going to anoint the next king over Israel after King Saul, he died? So anyway, Samuel, the prophet, went to the house of Jesse, which is David's father. Because Elohim told him, you need to go, because he says, the next king is one of them. So of course, Samuel being a man, just like all of us, a human being, guess what happens to Samuel? He looks at Jesse's firstborn child, was very tall, very handsome, nice looking, blah, 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 because it's his first son, the heir. And he says, I know that this is the one that's going to be. This is definitely the one that's going to be. Well, for his amazement, let me tell you what happened there. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse number 7. You're very much mistaken, Samuel. See, you're looking at his appearance. And you're looking at his height and how handsome he looks and how good he looks and how the kind of suit he has and this and that. But I refused him. Because see, the problem with you mankind that I have created is that man sees what I don't see. Man sees the countenance. Man sees what's outside. I see what's in the heart. I look at the heart. But since you and I cannot look at people's heart, he gives us to understand what is divine love. And what is this obligation that I'm talking about? When you look at somebody, if we choose to focus on the strength of a person, then we will love him or her. If we choose to focus on their weaknesses, on their flaws, on their imperfections, then will we dislike or we will not love them. To love somebody is a choice on how we see others. To develop the feelings of love, we must focus on the goodness of others. And the more intimately we know someone's goodness, the deeper our love will be for this person. In other words, according to the word, when we fall in love, when we love somebody, what we're loving is their virtues. What we're loving is their strength. They got something that we want. That my husband has something that I need in my life. We fall in love with their virtues and vice versa. And they fall in love with our virtues. And that's powerful. What happens? We don't look at their flaws. We don't look at the weakness. We don't look how they're dressed. We don't look at this. Do not take a revenge. Do not hold grudges. Love your neighbor as yourself. Why are these 3 commandments appear in the same verse? What do they have in common? What they have in common is that with divine love, we bring to earth what is in heaven. And what is in heaven? Divine love. When you don't love, when you don't give, you are no longer in the spirit realm, but in the physical realm. Some say, I fell out of love. And I will explain to you what the obligation is in 1 second. I fell out of love. I no longer love him or her. See, it's not what he or she did to you. It's what you have done to yourself. And what is that? You left your first love, where everything originates. To love is to surrender, to give yourself up completely. In intimacy, a husband and a wife surrenders to each other, give themselves up for love. They give themselves up. This is the most highest expression of love. As a husband and wife, just completely surrender themselves to each other. What does this mean? Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. O hear Israel, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh is one. One. When the Shema is spoken, is sung, because it is sung. And you say Echad, which means it's the number 1, because each Hebrew letter has a number. This is very intense love, and this is the obligation that he's talking about. What do I mean? Love Yahweh with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. What that means is to give your soul for the love of your Maker. In other words, you surrender completely to him. You should love the eternal, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your resources. In other words, out of love for him, you have to be prepared to offer him what you value most. What you value most. You value your body, and that's where you suffer. You value your soul, and that's where your life is. And number 3, you value your finances, because there are your resources, even in time of crisis. And why is that? Because everybody hides their money, puts it away, so really it's value to you. So you give everything. I'm not saying you're going to go to the bank and give them. No, that's not what I'm saying. You surrender yourself to him. Now that you're going to go and no, that's not the way it's done either. The sun, S-U-N, never says to the earth, you owe me. It never says this. It's constantly coming out and giving their sunlight, giving their energy, and giving their power to the earth. And what does the earth never, ever, ever? The sun will never say to the earth, you owe me. Yohaveh, the name of Yahweh, Yohaveh, are 4 letters. Each letter has a number. It equals to the amount of 26. Ahabab, which is the Hebrew name for love. And if you add them, it comes to 13. Now, what does the name Yahweh that actually it adds to 26 and Ahabab that adds to 13? What it has in common? The same thing. Because if you take 2 people that love each other, they had Ahabab, one has 13, the other one has 13. How much is that? 26. And that is what equals his name, Yahweh. And what does that represent? It represents, which is called tetragrammaton. It represents the highest level of spirituality. Love is an obligation. And this is why love is an obligation. You choose how you're going to love others. And others choose how they will love you. This is why it's an obligation. You either choose to see others, you see their strength, their abilities, you see how noble they are, how nice they are. You see their attributes, or you see their flaws. So it's an obligation. You choose how we see others. Because see, even though it says you should love everybody, you should love your neighbor as yourself, but it's something that you have to understand what he's saying. And why is that? Why is it an obligation? This is why. It's an obligation because we have to love as Messiah loved. And how did the Messiah love? When we see others eye to eye, when I see you eye to eye, we do not see a Muslim. We do not see Christianity. We do not see Messianics. We do not see Jewish. We do not see poor. We do not see rich. We do not see fat. We don't see skinny. We don't see homeless. We don't see gender. We don't see race. But what we see is divine ahabab, divine love. Erhad, we see one that unites us. This is the highest level of spirituality. That is an obligation when you see others. How you see others is your obligation. That's how you love. When you marry just because you in love, now you're going to be happily ever after like Cinderella, or maybe, I don't know, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves and Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and all that stuff. Those are fairy tales. The kind of love that we understand, that we were brought up, including even in Spanish country, which is called amor. Amor. El amor. Love. Has nothing to do with really what he's trying to tell us. When we are in a relationship, you fall in love with the other person's attributes. And why is it that after so many times that you've been married or in a relationship, 10 years, 15 years, all of a sudden, I don't love her. I don't love him. You know why? Because you choose not to look at their attributes. You didn't choose not to look at their strength. You choose not to look at their abilities. And that's what happens, because now you're looking at the ugliness, how they are, this and that. Maybe their feet stink. I don't know. But when you do, you see this person like it's the most marvelous person there is. You see their attributes, you see their strength, because they also see yours. Hallelujah. Yahweh says in the book of Jeremiah, I have loved you with an everlasting love. You know what everlasting love means? Unconditional. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness, because Elohim is love. What is unconditional love? Unconditional love is a love that does not require something back from you. Just think about it. This kind of unconditional love is not a love that if I love you, you have to love me back. No. Unconditional love loves without any hesitation of what he or she is going to expect back. What is true love? It's sincere, heartfelt giving. What is stronger than love? It's gratitude. And what is gratitude? Gratitude means that you have no judgment of them. Simply that they are kind, happy, sad, angry, anything else they are choosing. In other words, I am grateful for what you're doing for me, You get angry with me, whatever, it doesn't matter because I love you. Gratitude is one of the 5 elements in creating true intimacy. Where do we originate? Where do we come from? Love. Where are we going to when we die? Back to love. We all have pieces of Him, pieces of love, divine love. Divine love connects everything. Why? Because Elohim is love, and love is connected to everything. Without love, we are empty. We are empty. We're nothing. And with this, I finish. You have to evaluate your relationship. And we often evaluate relationship based on how it benefits us. The expectation of being that our partner is here to give to us, this is not love. Love is about taking a quantum leap from being self-centered to other-centered. The great challenge for each of us is to borrow the concept of the late President John F. Kennedy. Is to ask not what my partner can do for me, but ask what I can do for my partner. This is how we create genuine, deep love, divine love. If we are united, Elohim is with us. If we are divided, we are alone. That is the power of divine love. Until next time, Shalom Aleichem. Peace to you.